Hi, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko Restorations again, and this is part 2 of restoring a Pachinko machine. In our first portion of part 1 of the video, we went through taking off the upper tray, the ball handling mechanism, how to clean those, and so on and so forth. A few things that I didn't think about. I use a product called Awesome to clean my, actually I don't have it right here, to clean the plastic parts. I get it at the dollar store for $1. It is the best stuff in the world for cleaning this sort of filth and grime. You spray it on and it melts it right off. So highly recommend the product. So what I've done is I've removed some of the plastic pieces in this area. I've taken out not the attractions, but the decorations in here. This one is giving me fits. It's very close to the board. It's very hard to get under to pry it, so I'm going to wait until I've got a lot more off to be able to get at it easier than trying to get a tool jammed up in here. So what I want to talk about now, unfortunately I didn't think about it when I was actually doing it, so I've sort of put the machine back together again. But once you get the frame has been taken off, the chrome frame, held in by a series of screws all the way around. Some of the frames will be also have a tab that's screwed in along this edge here. And what you're going to notice is that these screws will have a flat head, and these screws will have a round head. So when you go to put them back in, you want to make sure you put the right screws in the right place, or the flathead screws won't look right out here. So this is just part of the lower tray system. The ashtray I've already taken that out. So behind here there are this has 3 bolts attached to it that go through the cabinet. And by taking the nuts and washers off, then this portion will come right off. Everything's going to fall off because it's all loose. I'll leave it on for the time being. So that would come off. There's a couple of nails that will hold this in, and a couple of nails that will hold this in. Some Pachinkos have the thumb rest go through the plastic, and some don't. Some it goes right through it does go through the case, but some don't have it go through the plastic. It would be right here. So if it either way, there's a nut and washer and lock washer on the back side. You simply release that, give it a little wiggle, and it'll pop out. There's 3 pins that will line it back up when you go to put it back in. So you get this off, and then all of this stuff will just come off in various pieces. And again, it's just a matter of getting all of this stuff nice and clean and ready to put back on. This is metal, so I would use a wire wheel to clean this. Most of these are plastic, so you simply use the Awesome. Although I will Awesome this just to get the dirt off of it, but then I'll use a wire wheel to shine it back up. Okay, now this is the part that used to scare me when I first started doing Pachinko machines. Right now I've got the launch lever just sitting in here. There are 4 screws that hold it in. On some machines, 2 screws are wood and 2 screws are bolts that go through with a nut on the back side. Doesn't matter. So what you're going to do is you're going to get most of the stuff that's in this area out of the way. So there was a bumper down here that I took out. I don't have to get at this bumper because this is going to be in your way, and you're actually going to use this to your advantage. This unit is simply threaded down onto this center like that. It would thread all the way down and screw into the cabinet. There is another smaller nut and washer on the end of that. You're simply going to put a wrench on this nut and a wrench on the top nut, go opposite directions, thread the nut off, and then once you take the screws out, you simply unthread this until it comes off. Now down here, there's going to be a large nut, and it's on really tight. So you're going to use this as something you can push against, so you're going to get in there and break that nut free. So once the nut is broken off of this, it's going to look just like this. At this point, you're going to go back and remove the 4 screws from, this is the shaft that your launcher is on. So you're going to go back and remove the 4 screws on the back side. So now this is loose, okay? Then what you do, and this is the scary part, you'll take the, actually I think I've got it soaking in the rust, but you'll take the small nut that was on this shaft and thread it on about halfway, just so that you're not banging on the end of that shaft. So you'll have a nut on there, about halfway threaded on. And then you can either lay the machine down or try it standing up, or however you want to do it. But you're going to, if I do it this way, I don't know if you can see it well enough. I'll probably have to, whoop, it just fell out. Okay, hang on. Let me get it back again. Like I said, I forgot to do this before. Okay, so that would be in there, like that. Okay, we got the right view? Where are we? Right there. Okay, so to be like that, okay? So you're going to grab the launch lever on the back side, and you're going to get this down so that it's flat against the board, and you're going to take a fairly good sized hammer, and you're going to whack it on the end of that, where that nut is, and you may have to hit it 2 or 3 times. You know, don't use a sledgehammer, but you're going to have to hit it pretty good, and after you hit it probably 2 or 3 times, it'll do that. It'll just pop right out, because it's got like a taper fitting on it. So once it pops out, then you're good to go. And then this would pop off. See, and then when you go to put these back on, when you reassemble it, this can only go on one way, but you see the gap in there? That's what you have to overcome. That's like a pressure fit. So when you put that big nut back on, you're going to squeeze that back down to where it should be. But to get it off, you're actually banging on this to pop it free. And again, it's kind of scary, but don't be too afraid. So now I've gotten all of the stuff down in here out of my way, with the exception of this. There's one more screw. It's kind of behind this. I'm not going to worry about it, but all of this is off. And all of this is now off. You see how filthy this is. Again, the Awesome will just clean that right up like nobody's business. And then I will wax this surface once it's good and clean. Now this is kind of a Formica on this particular machine. It's a laminate. It's very thin. And if there are, this one's good. There's no breaks in it. But if there's breaks in it, me personally, I leave them alone. I don't want to try to be pulling the laminate off and putting new laminate on. My opinion on a machine like this is a 45-year-old machine. It's not supposed to look like it's brand new. It's 45 years old. So I get them as clean as possible. I make sure they're fully functional. I get them to look good, but I don't get them to look brand new. That's just my philosophy. There are others out there that will go to great lengths to make the machines look brand new. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just my take on it is it's something that's 45 to 50 years old and should reflect that a little bit. So we still haven't taken all of this stuff off. We'll do another video on that. But now this section is off and everything on the back side. Again, the chrome frame has been taken off. With that chrome frame, this is actually 2 pieces. It was on like this. The screws just hold it on. You do have to release it here from the back. And there'll be a pin up in this corner. And you can pull that pin out. You may have to bend this out of the way a little bit. Pull the pin out, and then you'll have your frame in 2 pieces, which just makes it easier to handle and clean. Again, very fine steel wool will clean this up. The ones that are really rusted and pitted, Still use the steel wool. It's going to look 100% better. There's not much you can do once it actually rusts away the chrome. I've got one over here that's in real bad shape. Unless you want to pay to have this re-chromed, and from what I understand that's very expensive, you just want to live with it. And this particular machine over here, take a look at this one. Down here you can see where this is very rusted down in here. And this frame isn't bad, but it's got some major rust damage right in here. Again, if I wanted to re-chrome it, that's one thing. A lot of rust in here. This can be covered up like we saw on the other machine, which is probably what I'll do with this one eventually. But there's not a heck of a lot you can do with the rust on the frame. So I will sell this one stating that the frame is rusty and not charge as much. This particular machine, as long as we're showing them off, is a single shot. There's no upper tray. You actually load the balls in one at a time. It's hard for me to see what I'm trying to show you. There we go. And that frame, this here, I actually sanded down very carefully. It was in kind of rough shape. Again, it's only an overlay, and you have to be very careful, but I sanded it down, got the original light color like this gone, and then I stained it a dark brown because I like the look that it gave me. And then, as long as we're showing machines off, this is my first Pachinko. This one is the only one that I actually keep in the house on a permanent basis. Unfortunately, there's glare from the windows, but this is an Estrogen Model A. It's a recycler, and I built actually had a friend build the cabinet for me so we could mount it on the wall. So the rest of these are just here temporarily. They're just sort of giving you a shot of what it looks like when you start tearing apart a Pachinko machine. You just get stuff all over the place. So, okay, so we'll see you part 3. Thanks.